This is maybe one of the hardest things to do for public library. We want to do everything for everyone. Is that a sentiment that rings true in other types of libraries as well? Being able to define who their customer is of a service or where you're trying to go with your customer base? I think it can be. I'm seeing some nodding, so I'm going to say yes. So before we can even understand customer needs, we need to agree and come to an understanding of who a customer is. I don't expect you to read this. But for Sno-Isle, we want to target a customer for each of our strategic priorities. And basically, this is a whole bunch of referencing literature and evidence to boil down to in increasing kindergarten readiness and language and literacy in our community. We are looking for low-income children not in care in Island and Snohomish County who are 0 to age 5. Okay. I feel like that's a pretty good customer definition. Okay. Part of defining the customer, though, is knowing where they are. So we use Gale, this is analytics on demand. What this is showing to you, and again, I don't expect you to see all the faceting on the right-hand side there, but what you're seeing here, these red dots, are households in the Snohomish community, which is one of our 23 communities that we serve. This happens to be the one that I live in. I'll show you. This is just for fun. I live by that lake right over there. Everett is the major city in the middle of our service area, but it's not. Its residents don't use our libraries. They have their own city library, separate system. And this is I-5. And there happens to be another Highway 9 that goes along here. So I'm looking at this, non-customers, so these are people who do not have library cards, households that do not have library cards. They are likely to have children. Yes, they have children definitely, or likely to have children in their household. And they are all households that are below, and their income level is below poverty for a family of 4 per our county standard. It's about $75,000 for a family of 4. I think this is getting close to that target audience I defined, probably as close as I can get. They give me mosaics. I'm not going to use those because I think these are probably families that don't have a lot of credit history. They're not shopping a lot. So I'm not sure that's going to help. I just want to point out that our Snohomish library is right here. So this cluster of households, I think it's really important, and I want to come back to looking at those at some point, but I'm really worried about this cluster over here, right? Because there is no library anywhere near here, and they're far from any public transportation. So they're not getting to a library either. So I want to learn more about them so that I can look at their needs and define their needs. And this is zoomed in. And when I zoom in, I see that, oh, there is a kind of a neighborhood here. There's some structure. I can look at this entire neighborhood, and then I look at Google Maps, and I look for childcare. Because remember, not in childcare is important to me. And I'm thinking, is this really my target audience? Is there childcare for these families in this neighborhood? And look, there's lots of childcare. Over here, here. And then I go to these childcare sites and look at their rates. Guess what? There's no way that a family making less than $75,000 a year is going to any of these child care centers. These are all very middle class or upper middle class child care centers. And they are serving a population that lives on the top of this hill that has a beautiful view of the valley. So this is not, so I'm still like, okay, I still can't get to them. They're probably maybe not going to these. How am I going to get closer to defining their needs?